Do you have a thought on Mr. Cowell and any work he may or may not have had done?
Well, I definitely think he's admitted to doing certain things, and there definitely has been speculation about other procedures having been done in the past. Looking at his photos throughout the years, there's certainly a possibility that at some point he had a neck lift, which for extra skin in the neck. There was a period of time he had some incisions and scars around the ear. I believe he's also admitted to doing what's called thread lifts, which I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, but they basically put a barbed suture in your skin on the face or the neck and then basically use that fish hook to kind of pull up your skin and anchor it. So that I know he's done. He's admitted to it. But in addition, he's also admitted to doing Botox and fillers. And I think a lot of what's going on with him is from that. From what I can tell, it certainly seems like he's overdone in a variety of places. And I think what happens is when you get overdone, you just get so severely out of balance that it sort of brings an almost grotesque type of appearance. Keep in mind, there is always a possibility that he could be on some kind of medication, like high-dose steroids or something else for a while, and that also can kind of change the way your shape looks. So there is a possibility that there's some other factor adding into this.
Do you think that Mr. Cowell, who is, of course, a very illustrious and talented man, and a great-looking guy, really, very charismatic, do you think that he may be the victim of too much plastic surgery or the wrong plastic surgery?
Certainly. I think what happens typically, and I believe actually celebrities often get treated worse than non-celebrities because the providers have a pressure to treat. When a celebrity is coming into your office, you don't want to say no. They'll just go to the next office. And so you kind of always say yes, whereas maybe to somebody who wasn't a celebrity, you might say, I don't really think that's a good idea. And so I do believe there are circumstances in which celebrities don't get better medical treatment as a result of those extra pressures. But I definitely believe that, he's done too many things, specifically in terms of the filler. I mean, the Botox goes away eventually if you just stop. But filler can be a little tricky. When you've had a lot of filler, it sometimes doesn't go away. It kind of sticks around. And even when you try and inject a dissolving agent, sometimes it doesn't really dissolve. So it can be really tricky. And I would say, from what I can tell, this central portion of his face, and that's usually done to try and rejuvenate the appearance of the lower eyelids.
This is you in action, am I right?
That is me in action, yes.
I've got to say, your clients look fantastic. I'm going to be jumping on a plane over to New York. You are one of New York's leading plastic surgeons with happy clients. Do you find yourself saying no as often as you say yes to their requests?
I wouldn't say it's as often, but I do say no with great frequency. One of the things that I believe, and it's sort of proven by being a surgeon, because when you do surgery, most patients come back to see you about a week later. Those patients that come back a week later have already forgotten, in most instances, what they looked like a week earlier. I think that your brain is very quick to kind of relearn what it thinks you look like. And so what I think happens to people is they get filler, their brain believes that this is their new normal, and then when 5% of that filler goes away, they think that they need more filler. So then they come back asking for more filler. And what I do with patients is I always show them old photos. It's always good to remember where you started, because a lot of times you forget. And so when they see the old photos, I can very easily say, it may not be 100%, but I think it's not something that you should treat right now because it's going to wind up being too much. And they're usually very appreciative.